Things have gotten a little tense after the incident with Bismuth. Stephen became quieter, sometimes refusing to look at Spinel, but she knew why. And with Amethyst, she's got a little more frustrated on trying to beat Jasper, since they got to the orange gem nearly shattered by her. She was happy to hear that Stevani was able to save her and that they saved Biggs, but it came out worried when she heard about the worst enemy got away. But she just wanted to remain everyone as positive as possible for the time being. So Stephen's suggestion, Spinel took him and Amethyst down to Peridot and Lapis's barn, where the two duo made a few changes. Interesting, the barn mates shown them on the art, or if Lapis calls them me-morps. Peridot joked about that she was wearing her me-morps, aka her lemon bracers. Even though she brought out her favorite fighter's book, The Glimpse, she was now thankful that Spinel introduced her to the blind cat doctor, J-Site. For Lapis, she had been the tape recorder that Peridot gave her as a leaf Stephen gave her. Of course, along with the scene from Camp Pinging Hearts. When Peridot and Lapis played some music, Amethyst showed them around more frustrating about Jasper. Lapis felt a bit disturbed talking about Jasper, and Amethyst leaves to do something useful. Outside, Peridot asks Amethyst why she's acting like that, and when Spinel told her, Peridot just tells Amethyst that she doesn't want to compare herself to Jasper now she's actually better than her, and as their kindergartens are different. Amethyst asked if they could go there, and Peridot agreed. This puzzles Spinel, as she had only heard the bit of kindergarten, but hasn't seen it in person. It shouldn't hurt to look, she thought. Peridot, Spinel, and Amethyst and Stephen all warped into the desert-like area. Here we are, Peridot announced, Jasper's origin, the bed of kindergarten. Looking around, it was very different compared to the prime kindergarten. The smaller walls became out of redstone, narrow pathways, and uneven misshapen exit holes. Stephen held his hand out to cover his eyes from the brightness. Am I underwhelmed? It's pretty bright in here. It's red, Amethyst murmured. No kidding, Peridot shrugged, walking down the steps with the others trailing about behind. Yeah, redstone. Now, this is what I'm talking about. We're lucky that this place hasn't been blown away, bet I'm right? Stephen laughed a bit, but then whispered, That's a math joke, right? Yes, Spinel nodded. And I know this place. You do? Amethyst just stared at her. Peridot was sort of ignoring the conversation. I mean, this place has the right of growing conditions in a pinch, I guess. She licked the stone and then tossed it away. But it's so small. It was only obvious at the total rush job. Rush job? Stephen asked. Hey, Peridot, Spinel glanced over to the green gem. Do you mind if we tell them about the beta kindergarten was made? Peridot grinned a bit. Go right ahead. As they walked up through the kindergarten, Spinel then told them, during the rebellion, Homeworld realized that they needed more soldiers, but they couldn't find any part near the war, so they had to rush the process by coming here and through some injectors. As you could see, however, it turned out to be quite a failure. Now you're telling me, Peridot laughed, leaning against her shoulder on the pink gem and gestured her with the holes. Look at this. These holes don't even line up. She then saw another hole right up to it, and even this one, this chameleon then came out of sideways. But how could she not? The walls are all curved. That was just a joke. Yeah, some of the gems emerged from there when they were shattered or shamed if they stayed alive. Spinel continued to look around for her. Man, I have no idea, Amethyst commented, Stephen then following her and the gems up ahead of them. Peridot nodded. I tell you, it makes me so appreciate the prime kindergarten, Amethyst. Your kindergarten was so thought through. Sure, you may have spent some extra time underground, but everything else is all stacked in your favor. Great location, great holes, even spacing, inconsistent depth, and even a real kindergarten gets it right. As Stephen was stopped to stare at the two broken injectors, Peridot continued to explain. And what do you want to see in this vertical element? There are no angle exit, a clean, strong silhouette. None of these holes come close. Host, what about that one? Amethyst pointed to the largest hole that they've ever seen. The arms of the upward pose. Jasper? Peridot whispered. Is that Jasper's hole? Asked Stephen. It's huge, Amethyst said. Spinel swallowed. Geez, I've never seen anything like that before. Oh, please, Peridot deadpanned. We already know that she's tall. Let's take a closer look. A kindergartner can tell a lot of the gem's makeup and flaws about their exit marks. She was able to hoover herself over the hold, and when she stood inside, floating fingers pulled up on the screen, scanning the walls of the exit hole. You see, the problem is, she paused on her face, warping, being shocked to bewilderment. She fumbled with her words, walking towards the back of the hole before coming out a few seconds later. Peridot hopped down from the hole and approached him. "What's wrong?" Stephen asked. Nothing's about wrong," she said quietly. Spinel and Amethyst grimaced after, later asking, "What do you mean?" "She's got a frictional rock melt, and its glass is about ready all the way back." Peridot became very uneasy. I've never seen an exit hole this perfect." Spinel then blinked as Amethyst and Stephen controversed first, but coming to think about it, Jasper was from a bad kindergarten, but Spinel never really thought about that until now. Why was Jasper so power hungry? Was she just pressured by the diamonds because of this? That would explain most of what she's done. Perhaps she could, and I want to be like the gem who beats Jasper to the dirt. She heard Amethyst proclaimed, but just had been broken down by her thoughts as Stephen was taken back and Peridot shouting, "Wait, no, don't fight her. Are you not seeing this? She's ultimate quartz." "Yeah, I'm doing it," Amethyst grinned with her determination. "Yeah, it's just not for me. All those weird holes are out there, and like this guy skinny up there, and that's just a mess." She then pointed out strangely at the large hole. Spinel frowned. "Wait, Emma." The purple gem laughed. "Yeah, I bet she was great." Peridot then walked closer to the wall, bringing out another screen that shows stats and scanners. "No, something's really wrong here. This hole, these markings, have been dug out recently. Very recently." "But who has done this?" Stephen asked, worried. Spinel heard something and walked down the hall. Her grimace down the hall with no growling. She gasped, seeing the holes buried with the metal poles. "What is this?" she heard Stephen ask from behind her. "No exit holes," Peridot told him. "Not anymore." "Then what?" The group then jumped back when a corrupted gem enemy glowed at them. Around them, the cage holes had been glowing eyes staring at them. Spinel then nearly whimpered in horror as Stephen said out loud, "Corrupted gems in cages? Why?" Peridot backed away. "Who would have done this?" Amethyst noticed someone and glowed. "That's who." Ahead of them there was a large cloud of dust. There stood an orange quartz soldier. Spinel squeaked and hugging Peridot and Stephen to her chest and hid behind a rock. Amethyst bringing up her whip out, ready to fight. The four gems kept hidden for behind a short cliff, with Spinel holding on to Stephen close to her. Amethyst clutched her whip. "Jasper? So this is where she's been keeping them." Spinel narrowed her eyes. Peridot stared at her. "That's what she's been doing." Stephen nodded. "Pipe down!" Jasper scolded the gems, as of course which Spinel and Stephen recognized Ocean. Ocean growled at her, but the orange gem kicked her at the bar, knocking the gems. "You take orders from me from now," Jasper grunted. "You'll be used as a quartz to what happened." Of course, Ocean snarled, crawled at the metal bars in fury. Spinel then took a look on, but nothing of sympathy for the poor creature. Jasper scoffed. "Disgraceful. I can't believe I resorted in you recruiting you freaks. You're almost just as bad as that crystal runt or that coward. Just look at you. This planet ruins everything." She then grinned to herself. "Well, except for me." "Should we go back and get reinforcements?" Peridot asked. Spinel was about to answer, but felt unsure seeing how it was 4 against 1. "I think it's a good idea," Stephen decided to agree. "Amethyst?" However, the purple gem was nowhere to be seen, much to her dismay until they saw a shuffling noise along the edge of the cliff wall. "I'll never leave this planet twist me like it twists you," Jasper taunted the monster. "Your weakness, embarrassment, homeworld, you suffer it because you deserve it, and we all get what we only deserve, right, Amethyst?" Knowing that she was discovered, Amethyst fell off the ledge onto the ground. "What do you want, runt?" Jasper then turned her head. "You're here for a rematch?" Amethyst stomped her foot. "I'm here to win." Jasper turned her body to face the short quartz. "You were too fatted to lose. The moment you came out wrong." Spinel and Stephen ran out of their hiding spot, the pink gem holding back as Stephen spoke. "That's not true. Rose, of course." Jasper's amber eyes narrowed. "Your lackneys never stray far. Why don't they? They have no place in this or any of this world." Spinel snapped her head up. "And why do you think we like it here on Earth? We know know we don't belong in the ranks anymore, so why bother being like them? Ranks? Steven questioned. Jasper chuckled darkly. I guess the gems already told you nothing. Rose, you see, every gem has ranks and their separate purposes. To serve in order to the diamonds. For those who cannot fit inside this order must be purged. No! Spinel stood up, her pink eyes slightly spiraling. No one deserves to be purged for being something that they don't want to be. The diamonds are cruel, mind-controlling, loveless, and beings that only care about their colonies. It's too bad that you're following their order, because you know they would shatter if you shut it. Jasper angrily screamed. Steven then ducked behind Spinel, and Amethyst bracing herself, and Spinel holding the boy behind her. Jasper noticed something behind them. What are you doing here? Peridot peeked her head out. I'm a crystal gem now. Angered, Jasper then summoned her helmet, and Steven brought out his shield, and Spinel held her fists up. I'm not afraid of you. My limb enchanters don't have beams anymore. I've got metal powers, Peridot exclaimed, trying to sound brave. I'll show you. But for an awkward moment, Peridot shrugged to lift it off the metal rod off the ledge. Even Spinel facepalmed. Anyone else got something to say? Jasper groaned. Yeah, Spinel answered. Eat this. She lifted a fire punch at Jasper's face, knocking her backwards. Ugh, just stay out of this. Amethyst angrily wrapped Steven and Spinel with her whip and threw them to the side. She glared back at the orange gem. It's just you and me, Jasper, one-on-one. She lashed out her whip and struck Jasper in the face, and Amethyst has brought out another flail, smacking Jasper to the cliff wall. Steven and Spinel cheered for the purple gem as she proclaimed, Who's a runt now? You ready for more? Recovering quite fast, Jasper got off from the wall only to get smacked across the face. But of course she became unfazed. Amethyst froze slightly. There's more where that came from. She continued to lash at the whip on the quartz soldier multiple times, the last hit knocking her to the ground, but she got up, cracking both her whips and creating the purple fiery energy through them. Amethyst spun, following her whips to create a fiery dash that charged at Jasper, creating an explosion. After falling back from the impact, Amethyst coughed in the smoke to clear, and much to her horror, Jasper was still standing. Is it sinking in yet? Jasper gruffed as she brushed the ashes off her chest. Are you serious? Amethyst tried to stand up, but Jasper kicked her away. Amethyst! Steven cried out. Jasper stepped forward towards her opponent. You never had the chance. Thinking fast, Steven noticed the injector above them and fired his shield to knock it down. Jasper and Amethyst were about to jump away from the impact, but Amethyst coughed from the dust. Spinel then took a step. Amethyst! But Steven stopped her and ran over to the purple gem's side. Steven! Amethyst breathed. I can't win, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I work. She came right out, and I came out wrong. That's because what Jasper thinks, Steven told her. She's the only one who thinks that you should be like her. But stop trying to be like Jasper. You're nothing like her. You're like me, and you're like Spinel, because we're not to anybody. And yeah, it sucks. Jasper lifted the injector and tossed it away. Steven continued, but at least I've got you, and you've got me, so leaving me out of this, us the worst gems stuck together, right? Amethyst smiled softly, sniffling. Steven then held her hand off her. That's why we're the best. Taking his hand and standing up, Amethyst chuckled and brought Steven into a hug as a light burst came around them, clouding the area in the smoke. And when it's cleared, Spinel, Peridot, and Jasper laid their eyes on the new fusion of Steven and Amethyst. What a beautiful day! This fusion proclaimed, stretching her arms out, having the right of two conjoined arms. Huh? Jasper stood on the ground. Who are you supposed to be? Oh yeah, who am I now? The fusion pondered. I feel like Amethyst knows this. Spinel almost began squealing as Peridot shouted, Forget your name, you have to win! I think a rose quartz. The fusion then threw the shield into the air and summoned Amethyst's whip, and Amethyst she leapt into the air. The weapons combined into a yo-yo and then landed. Smoky quartz. Oh please, Fusion, can you just be the only trick you can't, you crystal gems now? Jasper snapped. Oh, I've got plenty of tricks, Smoky Quartz replied. Ever see Sink in the Dink? She then hit Jasper with the yo-yo multiple times, the last one knocking her backwards. Peridot laughed and running up to the ledge where along with Spinel cheering, Woo, go Smoky Quartz! Jasper had finally had enough and used the comet charge, wrapping the yo-yo in the ejector. Smoky Quartz pulled herself up to avoid the attack, making the gem crash into the wall, accidentally causing the cages to collapse. Multiple corrupted gems ran for their lives. Jasper stopped what she was doing. "No! My army! Take that!" Peridot taunted. "And take this!" She struggled to lift up the rod, but Spinel noticed that the quartz soldier was gazing at something. The last monster, Ocean. Spinel suddenly gasped. "Smokey, hold Jasper back. I need to free Ocean." She hopped off to the ledge where with Peridot shouting, "Hey, where are you going?" "Roger that," Smoky Quartz grinned as her yo-yo stretched and wrapped around the quartz soldier, pulling on it and sending her back into the cliff wall. Spinel then ran over to the cage and pulled out the metal-heavy bars. Almost immediately, Ocean recognized the pink gem and whimpered, clawing at the bars. "Hang on, Ocean. I'll get you out," said Spinel as she was already bitten. The bars gave away with some brute force, setting the corrupt gem free. Ocean purled and nuzzled Spinel, who briefly accepted the affection before gently stroking the mane. "Aw, Ocean," she said happily. "It's so good to see that you're okay." Ocean purred, nuzzling her. Spinel then peeked an eye out open. "Now just let me..." Now this time her hand got the gemstone and she's gently tugged on it, forcing Ocean to retreat to it. Sighing relief, she bubbled the gem away and sent away. "No!" She then heard Jasper shout, breaking free from the Smoky Quartz's yo-yo. Sprinting towards her, Spinel yelped as she was being knocked to the ground by her throat. In her panic, Smoky Quartz unfused into Steven and Amethyst. Peridot also ran over, only to stop beside the purple gem and the boy as they watched. Unable to help. "You dare come here, bring warts and her weaklings, and let my army escape?" roared Jasper. "Those gems were like us, not tools for anyone like you to use," Spinel spat back. Jasper's lips formed into a sinister sneer. "Except you were Pink Diamond's tool, remember? Those weaklings may already know, but you were the ones who might be a plaything for Diamond before you followed Rose." The two gems were stared at a bit of shock. Steven became more afraid. Spinel stopped struggling. "I had no choice." Jasper then nodded immensely. "Oh yeah, you probably didn't. That's because Rose knew you were weak, and yet you were nothing. So she took pity on you. Even from what I have seen back there, I'm surprised you made it this far. I'll admit, but unfortunately this galaxy doesn't need someone like you." Amethyst summoned her whip. Peridot steadied herself. Steven felt tears. No, Ma!" But he was stopped when the pink gem held up her hand. What Spinel said next made the blood run cold. "Go ahead, shatter me. I'll gladly die for anyone in my life." Jasper was momentarily taken back, brushing it aside, and again summoned her helmet, ready to strike. Steven and Amethyst cried out for her. Peridot instinctively she threw a heavy metal rod directly into Jasper's back. The quartz soldier stilled, slightly trembling when his eyes stretched wide, stared back at Spinel, as if she was begging. Unexpectedly, Spinel gave her a calm, reassuring smile, and she whispered, "We'll talk later, all right?" Jasper didn't answer, only become more baffled and shutting her eyes, retreated to her gem. Spinel then caught the gemstone, bubbling it just in time and stood up, sighing. "Spinel?" Steven murmured, stepping towards her. "Are you okay?" Spinel nodded slowly. "Yeah." Amethyst also approached her. "What you did there was awesome, but why?" "I don't know." Peridot let out a sigh of relief. "Well, I think the stars that we got are bubbled." "Yeah," Spinel spoke, letting the free gem stare at the soldier's gem before sent it off. "Now let's head back. The others must be waiting." "Oh!" She stopped as Steven hugged her leg and then lifted his head to look up her. "Spinel?" He didn't finish. "Come on, love. Let's get Peridot back to the barn, and then headed home."